G6 day 1, we're introducing you to the Y making its E sound at the end of these words. So we've got ugly, dusty, windy, frosty, 20, 50, 60, 70. You might also sometimes see EY at the end of a word, which also makes its E sound. But there's only about 10 words that end in EY. So if you're not sure whether it's a Y or an EY, go for the Y, because there are thousands of words that end in just a Y for the E sound at the end of a word. And remember, there's only about 10 that you would commonly use that end in EY. Money, honey, monkey, donkey. There's not an awful lot of common words that end in EY. So let's have a look at what these words. Ugly means something that's not pleasant to look at. So here's an ugly looking monster. Dusty might be when there's a lot of dust around. Windy is when there's a lot of wind. Frosty is when it's cold on a winter's morning. 20 is a number, 50 is a number, 60 is a number, and 70 is a number. So quite often these words, ugly, dusty, windy, frosty, are adjectives because they're describing something. They're describing they're describing the monster. Here, they're describing how dirty or dusty the place is. Windy is saying that the air is moving very fast. Frosty means that it's cold. Okay, now let's read these words, sound them 3 times, spell them 3 times, cover them and write them 3 times. So we've got ugly, 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 U-G-L-Y, U-G-L-Y, U-G-L-Y. Cover it and write it 3 times. You should really know by now this process of read it, sound it, spell it, cover it, write it and check it. And at the end of it, check it to make sure they're all correct. Yes, they are. So go on to the next one. You can go through that process for all of those words. Now down the bottom, you have to write the words in sequence. So it says 90, 20, 50, 80, 30, 40, 70, 60. You have to work out which one you use first and write it in this box, and you're going that way and then on to the second line. Off you go. Okay, this is G6 day 2, and we're revising that the Y on the end of a word may make its long sound E. So we've got ugly, dusty, windy, frosty, 20, 50, 60, 70. Sometimes, not very often, sometimes you can have EY at the end of a word too. But there's only about 10 words that you would commonly write that have EY on the end of them. There are thousands of words that end in a Y, just a Y. So if you're not sure whether to write EY or Y on the end of a word, go for the Y, because there are thousands that end with Y, but only about 10 to 20 that end in EY. And they're not very common. You've got money, honey, donkey, monkey, alley, but some of them are words that you would never write. Okay, so let's read these words, sound them, and spell them. I'll get my little card to cover them with. So ugly, ugly, U-G-L-Y, cover it and write it. Dusty, so we've got D-U-S-T-E, dusty, D-U-S-T-Y. Windy, W-I-N-D-E, W-I-N-D-Y. Frosty, F-R-O-S-T-E, F-R-O-S-T-Y. And you can finish the rest of those on your own. Make new words, so you just have to add the frost to the T and you end up with the word frosty. You can finish the next one on your own. Write the list word. So we've given you the numbers there. You actually have to write the words next to those numbers. It's quite easy. Copy and fill the gap with a list word. So Cinderella had two something sisters. We know they were ugly sisters, so you have to write the word in. Then get your long strip of paper. Have a good look at the sentence to make sure you can spell the word. Cinderella you might need to take a peek at because it's a very long word. And then you cover it and write it. Cinderella had, have a peek if you forget what the sentence is, two ugly sisters, two ugly sisters, and then at the end we put a full stop. Don't forget you need a capital letter for the start of the sentence, but you also need a capital letter for a person's name, and Cinderella is her name, so we have to give it a capital C for two reasons. You can finish off those sentences and rewrite the sentence on your own. Down here, this little creature saying, circle the correct spelling and write. So which one says ugly? That one does. And then see if you can even cover it and write it. That will be really clever. You can finish those last two as well. G6 day 3, we're revising that Y at the end of a word may make the long E sound. So we've got ugly, and let's highlight that E sound as we go. Dust E, wind E, frost E, 20, 50, 60, 70. So let's see if we can read the word, sound the word, spell the word, cover it and write it. Let's go. Ugly, U-G-L-E, U-G-L-Y, U-G-L-Y. And then have a look to make sure that you've spelt it correctly. You can finish the rest of those on your own. Don't forget what we discussed yesterday, and we said that most words, when it ends with the E sound, we use a Y. There are about 10 to 20 words that may have EY on them. There's not many, so if you're not sure whether to write a Y or an EY, always go for the Y, because there are thousands of words that end with a Y for the E sound on the end of a word. And these ones aren't that common. You've got money, honey, donkey, monkey, chimney, trolley, but there's not many more. Okay, down here we've got comparatives and superlatives. So you know that when we're comparing two things, to make it mean more, we either add to the base word or we say more. So first of all you have to work out what the base word is here. So uglier, ugliest come from the base word ugly. Now if you have a look at these very carefully, you can see if we have a consonant before the Y, then we have to change the Y into an I before we add the or the EST. So be very careful while you're doing this one, that you remember that the Y changes to an I and then we add the EST or the ER. That's because we really don't like Ys in the middle of words, and if we can, we change it to an I. So we've got windy, the Y changed to an I, windiest, the Y changed to an I. Now dustiest, the Y changed to an I. So remember to do that when you write dustier. So we don't say more dusty and most dusty. We say dustier, dustiest. And you certainly wouldn't add the and the more. So you wouldn't say that dog is more uglier than this one. We would just say uglier. We wouldn't say that is the most ugliest dog. We just say that is the ugliest dog. So you've got to put the base word in, add the comparative, which is the ER, and all the superlatives have been done for you. Superlative, remember, is the most of a group. So it's more than one thing or two things you're comparing. It's a bigger group of things. Now what's the opposite to prettier? We're looking for opposites here, and it has to be a list word. So the opposite to pretty would be ugly. So you have to write that word in there. Write the numbers and the missing list words. So here are some numbers. here, and you've got to use these words up the top, and some of these you should know how to write from previous lists. So here's the numbers, here you've got to write the words, and here's the numbers again. Write the base word for each word. So you've got frosty, the base word would be frost. So look for the base word. You could even highlight that to make it easier for yourself when you're writing them if you wanted to. Now, how many seconds in a minute? We know there are 60 seconds in a minute, so I want you to write that in a full sentence. How many seconds in a minute? There are 60 seconds. So see if you can write that in a sentence. How many minutes in 1 hour? What is half of 100? What is double T? G6 Day 4, our interest words today are about creatures in a zoo. So you may have to find the answers on a computer, so you might have to do a little bit of research. And this is just some background information for you. If it says that an animal is a herbivore, that means they eat plants. They're a plant eater. If they're a carnivore, that means they're a meat eater. And if they're an omnivore, they eat plants and meat. So they're a plant and meat eater. So my baby is called a cub. There's a big line there. Some animal babies could also be called a calf, a baby, a foal, or an infant. So let's have a look. We've got a giraffe here. You have to finish off the name of that word. So we've got to add the G. So we know when we have a G followed by an I, it's going to make the G say its soft sound J. The plural of giraffe would be giraffes. So that's nice and easy. The young of a giraffe is a calf. You've got those words up here to help you. And what do they eat? We know they eat leaves or plants. You could put either in. So you just have to finish off each line of these, do your research, and then check the answers on the marking code.